I'm successfully in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we're live.
How are you? How are you?
Hey, Chandler.
Good.
What's up?
How are you?
Great. Counting
Okay.
down the days
So
to
now
September.
I guess I'll be in it, right?
Yes, you will.
Hey, I think, even your Okie neighbor was able to figure that one out before you did.
No.
What's up, Devon? How you doing?
No, how you doing? How you doing?
Good to see you,
So
man.
it's better than it comes that way.
Should be here in a minute. It's halfway here.
It was yesterday afternoon.
He was a happy camper with
You don't know big enough, that's about 4 hours of sleep.
But it was the first draft, like our copy from last week, so just in case you wanted to. I had it already, so.
If you want to start, I can take notes for the clerk here if you like.
Okay, all right. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll sit down, stand for the pledge of allegiance. Please remain on your feet for an invocation. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Father, we come before you tonight and thank you that Councilman Munger is doing better and back with us, Lord. We pray for Vanessa's mom in that situation, Lord. Many in Holtville are hurting. I think people in church that need our prayers, and so just lift them all up. And we pray, Lord, that you'll be a great healer that you have been known to be. Bless us now in this meeting that we might serve the people that honored us with their votes, and that we also might honor you, Lord. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
City manager, can you verify posting of the agenda? Oh, city clerk, can you verify posting of the agenda?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, the agenda was posted on Friday, June 6th.
Read executive session announcement with Henry Walker. Do we have any?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, there's no reportable action.
Thank you.
Introduction. Chuck Jalone.
Oh, wow.
Perfect.
See, I coached him on the way.
No one English teacher.
Oh, here you go.
Was.
Was.
First week retired, first week retired.
Oh, wow. Well, no one ever gets that right, but when I met my wife's grandmother, she said Jaloin perfectly, and I said, no one ever does that. She goes, what's so hard about it? Hard.
Well, your title is President and CEO of the Christian County. We're glad to see you here.
Well, thank you. I wanted to come up and meet the council members, and after talking with Nick and a couple of people, I thought I'll give a little report while I'm here, and happy to do it. We're always happy to come back and talk about what we're doing for you. And what a nice salute and prayer, and we feel very blessed to be working for you. We've been in business for 29 years, ChrisCom. I think our city, Nick might have passed these out. Just wanted to give you a little smattering of what we do without being too, long-winded about it. But we're helping with the grant writing and your advocacy in Sacramento and in Washington, D.C. The good news is we've been doing this for a couple of months now, and it looks like we're making some headway. We've read, Nick spent an hour with me this afternoon. We know about your public safety project, and it looks like our Congress member is very excited about it, and there's kind of a buzzword in politics, and that is if they say they'll make it a priority, right? Because you get a lot of asks when you're in Sacramento. You can ask for whatever you want. But at the end of the day, members only get a few things that they actually get through as far as the budget request goes. And so our member of Congress has said, this is one of my top priorities. So I think that's very exciting. A couple of you, I think the mayor, you guys were in Sacramento and met some of my team. The last guy that was here is a 6'4" former police chief that I worked with for 20 years. And when he retired, I just thought, with all the public safety work you do, he would just be a great team member. And he's a good mentor, and we're very lucky to have him. So I just wanted to mention that we're constantly in Sacramento. We're in DC often. We are really picky who we work for. And as much as you looked at us, we looked at you and really wanted to do this job. We've been very lucky to be working for the Imperial County Sheriff for quite a while. And we're trying to help him out. I'm not interested in representing 50 cities because you're not as effective unless, you're scattered all around the country. We do work in other states. This is the only state we do work for public agencies. And we really specialize in small towns. We put in Corcoran where the two prisons are. That's where Manson was. And we've been there for over 2 decades. And we know what the issues are. And I wanted to be here today to basically answer any questions you may have. Our grant writing, it was very fortuitous to sit with Nick today because that's another one of our responsibilities. You probably get a lot that you know about, and there might be a lot of things you don't know about. So not only do we want to help write them, we want to help find them for you and vet them and work with staff. I introduced myself to the city clerk and to the finance director, and I just understand you have a great team. So we'll be looking forward to working with you. So if there's anything I can answer, I'm very happy to do it. I wanted to see the faces. I Googled all of you and know a lot about your town. On the census, I think you had all 5,555 people in 2022. I know the Angels used to have some property out here, so we do our homework. And Nick, I really appreciated your time today. So
You take a look through.
No, he just came at 4, so we were.
Oh, you didn't take out there to eat?
well, I've been around town. I actually got here like 2, and I drove all over the place. And like I said, I've been doing Imperial County for a long time, so I know it well. So.
Questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Chuck,
Sure.
Hey, with your experience, you got years of experience, you know our public safety building, you know that's our #1 priority. I'm sure you know the figures, how much we've got, how much we need. What are the chances? What is the time frame? What are we looking at with that?
No, very good question. So we kind of did something very unique years ago, and that was with the former police chief. The governors had never given money directly to police departments. Jerry Brown was not going to do it. And we decided that we'd make him an offer he couldn't refuse. I actually told the story to the city manager. I said, hey, you should do that. We have an old 80-year-old building. The Congress wants to give us $1 million to fix things. It's not fixable. There's asbestos, you plug in, there's fires, it's a problem. So Dianne Feinstein, the former senator at the time, offered to give us $1 million to fix things. So I went in and I told Governor Brown, I said, hey, this could be your legacy project. And he said, Chuck, my legacy project is high-speed rail, if you haven't. And so how did that go, right?
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I shifted gears. You have to be really nimble doing what I do. I said, okay, it could be another legacy project. And how about if we go work with the senators and the assembly members and they bite and they're interested, would you consider it? And he did. And it was the first time there was ever that kind of direct funding. So to answer your question, not easy to do. We've been very lucky. We've got some examples of some recent wins on there. We got $7 million for a sheriff station. We're getting $4 million here, $5 million there, $6 million there. I know what the project costs. They did a good job going over it with us. We can do this. But we have to run it on the federal side and on the state side both. Our assembly member, our state senator, they're interested in helping us. And so I just say I have to always under promise and over deliver, which is what I think we've been able to do for 21 years. But at the end of the day, the best thing to do is consider it in phases. What are we going to do if we get $2 or $3 million? What are we going to do if we get 6 or 7? But it really helped me today to really understand the budget, because now we can do a better job explaining it. You know what? And it's good that we have skin in the game. You know, the legislators want to know, you know, well, what are you putting into it? And that's critically important. And also, sometimes, many times, they'll point you to grant opportunities. And there's really no grants for this, for what we're trying to do. And so, and the balance in the Senate and in the House, you know, it's Republican, it's Democrat. I definitely need to mention, we do not play partisan politics, but we'll fall on the sword for our clients. And we've got a very good reputation with that. We work with Mr. Padilla. We have to work with Adam Schiff, both of our U.S. senators. We want to make sure that when Mr. Ruiz is helpful to us, that they know about it and that they'll work with him, and that will get through these budget committees. Because right now they're making it a priority, so that means they will be saying, hey, this is what we want to get approved. But now the hearings are going to begin, and we have to keep you posted, and the city manager, of course, on where we are with that. So we've got a couple of hurdles to get over. Probably 2 years, 3 years, probably right in there. We've got to be nimble, and so do you with the money, you know. I know that's a tough answer right now. One more thing I should mention, you know, remember a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, we had an $80 billion surplus in California. Who missed that math? $80 billion surplus. Okay, well now we've been running all these deficits. 56 million, or was it a billion, or was it 52 billion? 43 billion, or was it, so you never know where we are. And right now, the governor only has a short period of time to approve this year's budget. We have made a budget request on behalf of the city, and the good news is, if we don't get it, we'll be first in line for next year, which really starts in July, because that's when they start to recess, they come home, and we're already working on stuff for 2026, because it's a 2-year session. So, I'm sorry, is that me?
No.
I don't think it's you.
It's just an electronic pop, because I don't see.
That begs the question, you know, we could do this in phases. So if we could get the funds incrementally, is that a better option for us to get to breaking ground sooner, or should we go for the whole rebuild?
Yeah, another great question. I think we go for everything we can go for, and then from there kind of figure it out, and we're already kind of doing that. You know, we're out of the dugout, we're in the batter's box, and we're kind of running the first base right now. The other thing that will be very helpful is having Ruben, that's our employee. He is very, very good at, I made him navigate a lot of this stuff when we first got some of that money. And one example was another town really needed their all of their equipment and their call center, their 911 center improved. So the governor told us, he said, I'll give you $1.5 million, and in another year, I'll give you the other $2.5 million, which they did. So there's a lot of negotiating that goes on. I don't think we can, we would call it the whole enchilada, you know, go for anything less than that right now, because that's important, because they're going to want to know what the cost of this is. And again, with steel going up and all of the different things that have been happening in the last couple of years, you know, these things have gone from $6 or $8 or $10 million, really and truly, for 20,000 square feet to $20 million, to some of them $30 million, depending on what we're going to do. But there are some cost savings tricks that can be pulled too. So the budget, I know how important it is, Mayor, and I don't think if the governor comes back and says, I will not look at anything more than $2 million, okay, then it's going to be a dogfight for everybody to kind of lower what they're asking for, and we should do that to try to get some state money. And if we do get state money, we can put it in the bank, and we can get interest on it. Federal dollars don't work that way. You can't get any interest on that.
Well, I think one of the things we talked about is this phasing approach. Even if we, and I said this to Chuck today too, if we get a commitment for funds midstream, we can loan money from the sewer department or something, to keep the construction going. If we know we're going to be able to backfill that up the road.
Well, this question may go to you instead. We have some money, so we could do a phase. Does that, a very limited scope over there, but does that give him an advantage that had been broken, or no?
Can I answer?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, it does. So the legislature right now is very interested in shovel-ready projects. They want things that are ready to go and that the council has committed to. So I think by saying we have made this commitment, here it is. And I think this was you, Nick, that put this flyer together. It's important. They don't want to read 20 pages, the lawyers do that. The legislators, you want 2 or 3 paragraphs on what we need, and we have that. So I think they would welcome that. We are committed to doing this project. The first thing they asked me is, how strong is your council? Was it a 5-0 vote? Was it 3-2? They want to know all that. They watch the politics very carefully. And all of our members know, we've been talking to them quite often. And I'll work with Nick when they're here. Let us jump in some of these meetings when they come to do, or if you're going to visit them, we're very happy to do that, because our job isn't just to work with your members. We have to work with the budget chairs, and we have to work with the speaker, with Mr. Rivas, who's from the Central Valley, the Central Coast area.
And I keep telling everybody his wife is from Holtville.
I did not know that. Really?
His wife is from Holtville.
That's even better. I'm gonna write that down. And I also heard where he's singing in Bakersfield too. So I didn't know that. He's got a lot of talent. Yeah, I know.
I never heard
Ouch.
Withhold your opinion.
Are we being recorded? So our job, and again, we don't want your assembly member to come back and say, hey, we tried. So what we do is we offer up our help. What can we do? What can we do to strengthen this? So we go to the budget committee. The chair is a Democrat at the state. The vice chair is usually a Republican, so it's balanced. And we just work very, very hard for these requests. So, and at the federal level, having our member of Congress making this a priority. I used to work with Alex Padilla. He used to be a city council member in LA, where I'm from. I was a commissioner there for years. He works well with the Republicans, and I think that'll be helpful because the Republicans have the House and the Senate. So we're covering all of our bases. I don't know that we'll need you to run around Sacramento, but if we do, there's a good reason for it, and we'll work through the city manager to say, boy, Nick, if you can come up. I think every year or two, I've asked maybe 1 or 2 folks to come up, because we would have the audience with the budget chair or with the assembly speaker. Those are really big meetings. So we'll work with staff to figure that out.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to mention, the longer we wait, the price keeps going up.
Nice.
I don't know if it's 5% or whatever, but the price is going up for everything. And I think that's what we're all concerned about.
One of the things that I'm really drilled down on too is we're just about ready to get this thing to be able to go bid. We need to know those numbers of, actual construction estimates before. All of this it's theoretical exercise at this point. But what's somebody willing to build it for? And that, when we get to that hurdle, that's when we're really need to put the gas on.
And council member, the other thing is, or vice mayor, great, sorry.
I've been called.
I like titles. When we did the Corcoran PD, this is kind of interesting. It was one of the first times we built, the original estimate was almost $11 million some years ago. And it was an 1,800 square feet, 1,000 square feet. It had 4 holding cells and all of that. And I was telling the city manager, one of the things that we did was we went modular. You know, now again, we have to look at the politics and look at what you guys are all comfortable with. But if you ever want to go take a tour, after we did that in Corcoran, we found we got $7 million for our new sheriff's station in Kings County. And the idea of modular is you're not going from the ground up. We saved like $3.7 million. We shaved off the building to basically get exactly what we wanted. Now, we have drawings and we don't want to waste those drawings. But Ruben Shortnasty, our police chief, also had drawings, but we kind of made that work. And we thought if we could save $3 or $4 million, and we spent $680,000, I think, on architectural and all that stuff, we can blend this. We could still save a lot of money. And when you go there, it's a 70-year building. We had a little money left over, so we can, plant things around. It doesn't look like a modular building. And what they do is they build it on site, they bring it, they piece it together, and it keeps you from paying prevailing wage. So a lot of cities are starting to look at that now. Just throwing that out there, no big decision to make right now, but I'd be honored if you guys ever wanted to come up and see some of these. I don't know what the closest one is over here to take a little field trip, because it is pretty impressive. You can take pictures and get you things for it. So, yeah, and it was crazy because when you see these holes, you're like, oh, those are where the cells are going. So then when you see the bars come, the doors, they just pop them right into the building. It was really quite something. I think we even have a video of that we can share. The city probably has that. Okay, well, thank you very much. You all are going to have my cell phone. We answer our call. We put 5 people on every single project. We have 2 of our executive VPs, Renee Masaki, who's our chief operating officer, and Chief Shortnasty, and myself. We have a full-time grant writer and another lobbyist on this. So, and by the way, lobbying is not a dirty word, right? If you like your car, you like your shirt, you're going to say, "Hey, Joe, it's great, man. I love my car," right? But you have to believe in what you're doing, and we do believe in public safety and water and a lot of other issues you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
Sure. Now we need to have a recognition. Coach Greg, we have a Holtville High School state qualifying. Would you please tell us about this?
Yes, hello, how's everyone doing this evening? Council members, my name is Devin Gregg, or as listed as 1408 East 10th Street, Holtville, California. I'm also a track coach over at Holtville High School. I'd like to introduce everyone. Come on up here. Isabel Garcia. Did some digging in the research and the history of Holtville. One thing I could really find, unless there's somebody that slipped through the cracks, the last person that made it to the state in track and field was in 1941, and that was a male. I only can remember his first name, but he was a pole vaulter. Since then, no bill was ever made. She's the first one to make it out of Holtville, and she actually placed. She cruised through preliminaries, made the finals, and she placed 9th overall. The unique thing that a lot of people don't understand is San Diego, California in general is #1 in the country for girls 300 hurdles. So the San Diego section alone, she had to compete against to get out the San Diego section. 3 of the top 10 in California, in the whole country for 300 hurdles is in the San Diego section. Then when we got the state, 4 out of the top 10 in the whole country is in California. So she was able to hold her own and do her thing.
Congratulations.
It was a 42-5.
I got a question, Coach. And I brought it up to you out there. Holtville High School doesn't have a track. You run on grass, you run on dirt. How the hell can this girl qualify for state? She doesn't even have a track to practice on. What were the measures you had to go to give her at least a decent place to practice?
went to IBC once a week. That either that or it's gonna be too time consuming for me because I would have to paint lines and that grass over there, and it is like next to possible. It was time I didn't have. Even if I showed the practice 2 hours early, it just wasn't gonna work. So we just worked on the basic fundamentals. We were able to do that in the grass. Everything's plyometrics. We do a lot of work with brain and muscle relation. There's a lot of things I can do with resistance bands to trigger those pistons firing in the body and the brain. And then just going over hurdle drills, we practice 125 hurdle drills, and just 5 hurdles at the basketball court and make wonders and gain grounds and then get out there and be ready to compete. We do our race rehearsals at IBC. So we had to be cautious with that one because we had to submit in service requests for big numbers. So I had to take all my hurdlers because for what they did specifically, because it's an individual event, they really needed the track more than anyone else. But I would take the other kids too as needed so they can get reps on the track. It would be great. I will be working in the off season to see if I can find any grant money to see if I can assist the school board so I can get additional funding for track for Holtville High School. So that's one of my plans in the summer to really work on.
Well, I think this accomplishment without having a track is even bigger than just what we're saying, so congratulations.
Coach, did she, is that her parents?
Yeah, they said.
Did she introduce them and say a few words?
Can you beat your dad in a race?
So it's training my racing.
So is it like, introduce your parents?
You don't want to introduce your parents?
That's my dad.
That's my dad.
Lady Garcia.
Martin Garcia.
Our parents.
Yeah, for right now.
Isabel, are you a sophomore?
Yeah, but I'm supposed to be a freshman. Well, actually, since it's so.
Explain that now, you're a teacher.
So when TK, we moved her on to kindergarten because she would tell the kids what to do. She was just ready to be moved on. So she's one of the she's the younger one in her class. So she's 15, she'll be 16 until October. So she'll graduate 17, which was regular right back in the day, but now with the TK and the new laws and all that, she's ready.
Yeah, I graduated when I was 17. But I didn't know what to do. I did the high jump, and coach asked me to try the hurdles. I can't do that. I can go through 4 and then I break down. I can't. How do you do it? I just don't know. I tried.
Well, I mean, we have a race plan, so.
Yeah. Well, let's take a picture with you and the council here. We'll all get up and seal behind us.
I have one quick question, though, because I went to school with your grandfather, and there's no athletic ability. So where does this come from? Come from your mom? Maybe your mom's? Your mom had a little bit, she had a little bit of athletic, but your grandfather, your grandma, your grandfather.
Hold on, the grandpa did say he ran a 4-minute mile back in the day, but, I mean.
That was when this man was chasing.
It's your moment.
I do, yeah.
Come on, coach, you gotta get in there too.
Get the parents in there.
Let's get this first.
Just these two first, all right?
And then mom and dad and then the council?
Yeah, we'll keep filling it. Okay, mom and dad, join us. Yeah. And now the big guy goes.
Everybody.
He's only a sophomore.
She should be a freshman.
I got one girl who's going to.
Mark there, No, we had to run the 5-minute line. We had to do a 5-minute line. Coach, everybody was dying. We had to do a 5-minute line.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you.
Absolutely.
You guys don't have
Just
to.
to drive home this point, she was ninth in the state, the state that has the 4 tops in the world.
In the country, yes.
And then what,
Yes.
well, the United States.
So to put it in perspective, out of those 4, I believe 3 were seniors, and they're gone. So now it was some freakish stuff going on in San Diego with female hurdles. Anybody tell you the Power 5 college conferences are all over San Diego for the hurdles. So yeah, it kind of put in perspective. So everything is gonna kind of go back to normal. But the funny thing is, so you all know what we're dealing with here is that all those girls that are number 1, number 2, and number 3 in the country, she's faster than what they were as sophomores. So we got work to do. It's an incentive to
Get you a track.
it would be very great. I would be very grateful for that.
So in San Diego section, Deborah, she finished 4th?
Yes, she did.
Behind those 3 girls?
Behind those 3, yes. But she was in the mix. Last year, I don't think we were really ready yet because she was kind of shocked and I was kind of shocked. And I took it personal and I seen my kid walk across that field after she didn't qualify to move on. It ate me alive. So then we came to the mission like, we're going to make it. And we far exceeded what we attempted to do. We wanted to get back to San Diego section and be competitive, but we ended up making state finals. And not only did we make state finals, we were like, okay, we got to make out of prelims. It was a whole nother game because you had to race one day and you had to race the second day. And if you're not careful, what happened to us, we blew our tank on day just qualifying through the prelims where the big heavy hitters were able to reserve. And it looked like we were walking in the finals, but in actuality, we weren't. Just tactics, that's all. Time will tell.
What was your time again?
42.51. That was a
What was the
PR.
winning time?
The winning time was a 39.5. That she's the only one that's right behind Sydney McLaughlin.
I was just gonna ask.
Yeah, she's right behind her.
She's going to Arkansas or something.
Yeah, yes, she is. Her and her twin are going to Arkansas. And number 2, the Fountain Mills. She's going to USC. So that's what we're dealing with. The Power 5 is in contact with us too. So we really want to put hope in that.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay. That is so cool. General public comments. The public may address the city council on any item that does not appear on the agenda for this meeting within the purview of the city council. I don't see one here. Is there anybody online who wants to make a public comment?
Hard to say, you know?
There's 3 people watching, but comments would appear here.
Oh, guess not.
Apparently not. Okay. Then we'll move on to the consent agenda. The items on the consent agenda will be approved without comment. Should any council member or member of the public wish to discuss any item, they may request that the item be removed from the consent agenda based on the business agenda. Our items are item A, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of Tuesday, May 27th, 2025. And item B, current demands number 48013 through number 48159. What's the pleasure of the council concerning the consent agenda? Motion. You need a second?
I'll second.
You need a second. Roll call, please.
John Munger,
Yes.
Mike Pacheco,
Yes.
Murray Anderson,
Yes.
Vanessa Ramirez is absent, Mike Goodsell.
Yes. Moving on to reports of officers, commissions, committees, and communications. We'll start with our city clerk. You got this?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Friday, we had the ice cream social. I think it went pretty well. It's funny, at times I think the kids are actually more into that little PVC pipe splash chair that we have than the actual Rain on Main that we got going. So it was a good little investment, I think, all $100 or $200 of it back a couple of years ago when Haley got it. I am pretty much done with the pictures being up on the website. I think I'm just missing the planning commission, and I might have to find a spot for George because he did take a picture. We don't have like a dedicated spot for him on the website right now. So I'm gonna find a place to put George.
Oh, let's make him very public.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys take a look at that. It's all up for your guys' page and everyone else's pretty much at this point. And then as you've probably seen, we are live streaming on YouTube now. Still figuring it out, but hopefully this works out better and it's more accessible for the public. So that is all for me today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I probably mentioned it last time, but thanks to everybody who participated in the Memorial Day ceremony. It was immediately prior to our last meeting. Just quick highlights on things I've done. I did give a tour of the wetlands to some IID personnel. I guess the IID is going to be doing some tours around the valley on various projects and various water-related and maybe some power-related things. So this was kind of a demo tour. They asked me to provide the information that I used to give them technical specs on the wetlands, which I provided, and I think the long term is that they'll be giving the tours and they'll be passing on that information, but that was kind of cool. Also had a couple of demos of some online webcams with a company that does kind of security. We've got kind of a hodgepodge of security measures around the water plant, city hall, and none of it's really very, very well integrated or very high resolution. So we're kind of looking at some more coalesced answer to all those things. So Chavez and I have been working through some things with some demos on that stuff. Also, just lastly, I attended the ice cream social. Always a good event. You can see all the little kids kind of having a good time kicking off summer. So glad we do that. And there was talk about kind of stopping the ice cream social a few years ago, but I'm glad we kept it going.
Attorney Walker?
Nothing to report tonight, sir.
Councilman?
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor, although I really enjoyed the fireworks show. Congratulations. I'm glad it was short. It was really short, yeah. Thank you.
Councilman?
Yeah, I just mentioned the memorial event. I thought that was well attended. Again, more people every year. It seems like it's going to pull more chairs out next time. Fix that sound system, I think, or get it to where we could hear everybody.
Just gotta talk to me.
So what was it this weekend? We had all kinds of soccer. We had a soccer tournament at the junior high. I've never seen so many people.
I didn't know.
They used both sides of the playground, and they were lined up everywhere.
Yeah, it had been advertised for a few weeks. That was the big thing. They had saved ice truck, coffee truck, food truck, yeah.
And it was like for Friday evening, all day Saturday, and Sunday.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah. I'll do that.
Councilman
My apologies again for missing last week. Thank you very much for your prayers. I was in the hospital, but glad to be back. And you did a great job on the webpage. Looks really good.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's it.
George Morris, I see treasurer.
I'm
Fact of knowledge, historical.
Sorry, I've missed the last couple of meetings. I'm not busier than I was, I'm slower than I ever was. So I'm just, but it's that time of year when it's hot and sweaty, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. All I think is that Walker Driscoll Christmas party and just finishes the day out. So it's that time of year for the countdown.
That's right.
It's
Nothing says Christmas like 110 degrees.
it's 110 degrees. Walk Christmas party, singing Christmas carols.
That's right.
It makes it nice and cool.
We're putting stuff on ice as we speak.
Chief Martinez, the placard in front of you says Alex Silva. But you can go ahead and do the police chief today if you like. Unless you want
Same
to-
haircut.
So for the month of May, we had stat-wise 267 incidents. We'll break down 51 traffic stops, 26 citations, with 5 traffic collisions, 2 domestic violence, 3 vandalisms, and 10 disturbance calls, 1 narcotics arrest, and 4 actual criminal arrests. I just want to add, if you guys recall, last month, we had an issue with the same subject, apartments. You say he's finally in custody now, so he's going to get more charges. So hopefully, we'll be good for that area. Just want to advise everyone listening, please lock your vehicles when you can. We've been having some issues with juveniles trying to reach vehicles. They're just going car by car. Just keep mindful, like the car, with your keys. Because we did have 2 vehicle deaths. That's all.
Finance, Chandler Sinclair.
The only thing to report is we're scoring projects tomorrow and then ICTC TAC on next week and then I have another ICTC meeting the week after, but other than that, nothing else to report.
Some pretty big projects from Holtville being explored, huh?
4, we had the most contributions out of any other city.
Good.
Nice.
Good for us. For myself, SCAG meeting, the first Thursday is what they usually have. We won't have one in July or August. But I am going up to a retreat, the 19th and 20th of this month, because I've been added to the executive administrative committee by the president, Cindy Allen, appointed me to that position, which is quite an honor, really, to be on that smaller committee. And we're going to need to get to know each other here, about 10, 12 minutes, and take it forward from there. In our meeting, we talked about the LA Olympics. It's not what's happening in LA right now, but the LA Olympics. It's supposed to.
There's running, there's throwing.
Yeah. There might be hurdles even.
Yeah.
But, just preliminary things that they're discussing about the exercise. They also talked about that it adds to what our, what is his name again?
Julian.
He was talking about modular buildings. There was a presentation about modular buildings at this guy. Quite interesting. Mostly homes and apartments. Boy, they put them up quick.
So they build a lot of hotels these days.
Yeah.
They're just modular. They just bring building blocks. Large scale Legos.
We're gonna move on to unfinished business.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, I forgot one thing. A couple weeks ago, maybe last week, 10 days or so, got an impromptu phone call about a meeting going on to discuss the Calipatria prison situation, about the possible closure. So I attended that meeting. There was Brawley Mayor, Gil was there, El Centro Mayor was there. Of course, Michael was there from Calipatria. There was the head of the prison union that was there. Very, very lively discussion. So I think anything, again, and Michael said this as well, anything that our cities can do to throw support towards Calipatria and anything to keep that prison open. A letter from the city of Holtville, stressing that support would be great. I know we talked about all of some members of each city going to Calipatria's next council meeting and showing like a show of strength that, hey, all these cities are behind Cal Patriot. So, I can reach out and get more information on that. I know, they were hoping like the mayors would show up to the Cal Patriot next council meeting.
What day is it today?
I think they're a Tuesday or Wednesday, but I'll get more info. I'll press, is it Wednesday? Yeah. So it might be this coming Wednesday.
I can, if there's a template, I can certainly get a letter. We've done it a couple of times where we had all council members sign a letter. I think that might be appropriate in this case. I can certainly put that all together.
The county just said something.
Okay, yeah.
Our county rep, Mr. Hawk was there along with Peggy Price is at this meeting, so. They were talking more about getting a social media movement going, but Michael made some very good points about let's not really blast Governor Newsom with a lot of stuff right now. You know, you might say, oh, well, these guys are troublemakers, and that's, you know, it is, so. There were some good points brought up, so I think anything we can do to support Cal
Okay.
would be good.
Thank you. Item A of unfinished business is a discussion related action to adopt resolution 2510, authorizing an agreement with Site Logic to analyze and design energy efficiency strategies and solutions for city buildings and facilities. City manager as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you may recall, this was brought to you originally in April. At the time we decided to table this, perhaps capture some economies of scale with regard to these kind of measures for the public safety building. However, I did have a conversation with the Site Logic folks, and apparently because of some of the proposed federal cuts to some of the energy efficiency programs, they were concerned that some of these programs are going to go away. So, especially, you know, we don't know exactly what's going to be happening with the public safety building. I think this is kind of a no real downside measure. You know, unless they say we can save you a bunch of money and we decide to walk away on it, then there's a certain amount we want to look for. But I'm guessing that they can find some savings. They've done some preliminary stuff, and so you know, I think maybe it's time that we go ahead and pop on this and be able to capture some of the grant funding that's available federally in order to make it more profitable and more a better measure for the city.
What's the cost to join, to sign up?
Well, the cost is, they lock it there. They mentioned a cost of $32,000, but what they have said is if they find out that they can't save us much money, they're just going to say, we can't save you much money, we'll walk away, it doesn't cost you anything. If they come in and they say, hey, look, we can save you $1 million over 20 years, and we say, yeah, thanks for doing all the work, but we're going to pass on it at this time, then they're going to charge us $32,000. If they say we're going to save $1 million a year and we take advantage of it, they'll roll any costs into their whole constructions and the whole process of putting that stuff into the facilities. So it really only costs us money if they determine that we can save a bunch of money and we decide not to take advantage of that.
Okay. You got a decision here tonight, and then at the end of that process, we'll have a different decision. Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And if we choose not to pursue it, and then, as Chuck was saying earlier, when the public safety building 2-3 years down the road, we can re-engage them at that point, right? And what's the danger? What are we missing out on now?
Grant funding. There's grant funding that's going to go away.
That's why.
So they've only proposed, they haven't proposed anything for this building or the public safety building. All that they've proposed is stuff for the water plant and the wastewater plant. And those cost savings, they feel like they're preliminary.
But those facilities are kind of new, aren't they? I mean.
Yeah, but they're talking about putting
Yeah, you can see them
solar.
They're talking about putting the solar panels on those two
And there's gonna be government regulations that are gonna come into play in the next few years, next, 3-5 years, that we're gonna have to meet anyway, so they're getting ahead of it now.
And again, they've kind of given us the whole thing. If they they've done a preliminary analysis and they've shown that they think that we're going to save a significant amount of money. They have said if they do the more stringent analysis and it's found that probably not that lucrative for us to do it, they will just walk away and say, we can't do it it's not worth our while, it's not worth your while, and we don't know.
But they're gonna find something yourself.
Of course they will.
So that's really not even an option to say, oh, well, we didn't find anything, so we're gonna walk away. So they're gonna find something. And even if it's $1 million over 20 years, is that, like you had mentioned earlier?
So they gave us prospectus, and I provided that last time. I don't think we included it this time. But there's only they will do an analysis of the dollars and cents, and they will say, because in their preliminary they did this, and they say, look, there's very little out of pocket in the beginning, but you start having to pay for it, and there's only maybe in a 20-year cycle, there's only 2 years that you're backwards. The rest of it, you're net savings. So.
So I think if we're looking at as we discussed earlier, trying to look at the 30-year plan, the 4-year plan, some of these choices that we're going to take right now is with that in mind. And we know that some of these are a gamble. Some of these are a chance that it may not. But if you're saying that it has to be in our benefit that they would charge us, what dollar amount is not considered in our benefit that they would not charge us? So in other words, is it 50,000 is what they would save us so we're paying 32, we save 18,000? Or is it significantly more? Because I think it's significantly more.
I think it's significantly more, and I don't know the exact threshold, but I think they're going to go further down on this analysis, and they're going to have real solid numbers. And all of this relies on, they took our power bills and said, okay, this is what we pay the IID right now. We're going to put enough energy savings and solar production in, they're going to put a solar array at the water plant, for instance, okay? So what they're basically saying is you're going to save on what you're paying IID for power enough to offset what you would pay to us, okay? And so, and again, because there's these federal grants and state grants, the startup cost stuff, we're not going to really pay for. Of course, there are costs to it that are going to come down to the city, and so basically they're going to say you're paying whatever the number is, $5,000 a month for power. You're going to go down to paying $1,300 a month for power. So that 3,700 delta, I'm just making up numbers, but that 3,700 delta is what we're going to be paying to them until such time as we get to the point where we're only paying them 3,000 or whatever it is, and we're pocketing the 700 a month. You see what I'm saying? I mean, that's how this system is designed. And right now they're working with the County of Imperial, the school district, several school districts in Imperial County. They are talking to some of the other cities. So they're down here and they're working. You guys have all met Josh. He's been around. Josh Stieber. He's been around. He shows up everywhere. So they're committed to the area and they're working in the area.
And also, I think something they had mentioned was if the government in California is making regulations on things, and we're gonna have to make these changes anyway within years. So it's like, why not take opportunity, get the grants, get the help, and have someone do it way ahead of time? It's gonna have to be done.
What she's saying is true to as a long-term thing. There are some short-term things that we are supposed to be doing, converting to more efficient power usage and all those things. And if we're not doing this with them, we're going down this road with somebody else in the very near future. So
Yeah, because California is going to be California. And,
Yes.
There is this tug of war.
They're going to
going-
Californiaize us.
Yes.
Whether-
Um,
whether we
There
want
is
to.
this tug of war going on between federal and California now, which kind of puts us at risk a little bit. That's why they got to get moving on us or us get tugged away.
And some of the stuff I've said, we all know it's like the EV mandates with the state of California. Everybody with more than one brain cell that they can stack right next to each other knows that it's a fairy tale. But California, the Sacramento is such that they're looking at you and going, but you're not doing anything to try and get there. And then they become punitive with those things. So it's not like we can just sit back and say, it's never going to work anyway. We won't do anything about it. They won't accept that. So
It reminds me of something like SCAG, where it's a carrot or a stick. You know,
right.
There's some cities that get offered the carrot. We're going to help you do this. You've got to do it. We're going to help you do it. And then at some point, they'll turn around and say, no, we're going to mandate you do it. You pay for it.
And if you recall, we've been down this bridge, like when we were doing the first refurbishment to the water plant. Frank had kind of seen it coming that we were going to have to do UV filtration with the water, and proposed that we add that to the project, which we had to pay for at that time. By the time that was being installed, it was being mandated by the state of California. So there are things that these guys are going to be doing that are going to put us into compliance. It's really, and what Chandler's saying is right too. There are longer term things that are in motion that are going to push us towards this too. So.
Any other questions?
Do we have a deadline on this? I mean, do we need to?
Just that if we're not in contract with this by the end of this year, 100% some of the federal grants are going away. So he's like, get in a contract and get it in motion so that you can grab those grants, because that's part of the thing that helps pay for it, so that you can save $1 million, because you can't save $1 million if you don't get a $500,000 grant. You know, then you can only save $500,000.
But by passing this, we can build it in definitively to the budget that we pass.
Yeah.
Nick, you made a comment that savings, if they make so much savings on charges, does that go if we don't get the grants, they won't charge us?
Correct. If by the end of the process that they do they're doing all the analysis and some of the grants go away, that evaporates the savings, and then they say, look, we can't save you any money, so we're not going to go through the process of building structures and doing things.
So they're on a deeper plot. All right. So choose, we'll need a motion on this resolution.
Make a motion to pass resolution 2.0.
We'll need a second. I'll second the motion. Roll call.
John Munger,
Yes.
Mike Pacheco,
I'm gonna abstain. I just need to understand.
Murray Anderson,
No.
and Mike Goodsell.
Yes. So motion fails.
Motion fails. Yeah, motion fails.
What is it that you need for?
I just need to understand a little bit more what we're getting ourselves into. So I'll get with you, Nick. and-
Yeah. Okay.
Would you be able to share that with us so that we can, if there's any questions that you have that we're not aware of, would you be able to share that?
Well, I feel kind of, I didn't realize there was going to be reservations. That's why I kind of talked about it last week a little bit. Josh offered to be here online to talk to us, and I said, I don't think it's necessary, and because I didn't know what time, I didn't want him to sit online for 45 minutes waiting for us. But I can certainly, maybe you and I
I'll
can.
just get with you.
Okay.
Item 3 here, new business. A, discussion related action to adopt resolution 2514. Approving application submission to obtain funding through the fiscal year 26, 27, and 27, 28 of the ICTC's congestion mitigation and air quality CMAQ program from Mellon Road and pedestrian improvements, phase 1 between 9th and 9th Street and 8th Street. I'm not gonna read all of it again, I'll get back to different next one. We're gonna do these one at a time, roll on one at a time, right?
Just a little
George
different.
got one.
Nope, I'm slightly covered.
Yes,
But yeah, so in March 31st, 2025, the Southern California Association of Governments initiated a call for project nominations for the congestion mitigation and air quality improvement program for federal fiscal years 2026 through 2027 and 2027 through 2028. So in response to the call for project nominations, the city of Holtville submitted 3 applications, and all of them are for the same project. However, the applications were divided into 3 distinct phases. So the overall project is to develop sidewalks on the eastern half of Mellon Road between 9th Street and 6th Street. So phase 1 is between 9th Street and 8th Street. So it's for the construction of approximately 539 linear feet of sidewalk. And the actual, for the grant, we have a total requested funds of $430,719 and a local match of $55,804, totaling a total project cost of $486,523. And it's separated into a design phase, which is 26 through 27, and a construction phase, which is fiscal years 27 to 28. So the application requires the submittal of a resolution approved by the governing body, and because the deadline was on 16th of last month, the application allows us to submit a draft application on the condition that we approve the resolution during a future city council meeting. So that's what it's why it's coming up right now. And with that, I'm open to taking questions.
Anybody on the council has a question? I have one. There's a drain that goes along there.
Okay, so that's that's the purpose of this project, is to help the drainage over on that area. So initially, putting curb gutter and sidewalk helps the drainage outside of the drain ditch. But one of the goals is to improve that drain ditch as well, and make it concrete based and less
It'll still be open or open?
still be open. Up at 9th Street, that thing's about 12 to 18 inches high. Deep.
It's up when it gets going.
Yeah. Then there's between 8th and 9th, or going under 8th Street, there's 4 little tiny pipes. So my suggestion is they're going to need to stuff that or something to kind of have a vault or something that's.
And it's draining to the same place.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So at this point, the project's broken into 3 phases, and we're really going for phase 1, which would be 8th to 9th. That's 9th, 8th to 9th, 9th, 8th, whatever you want to call it. And then 7th to 8th, and then 6th to 7th eventually. But the big sales pushes. There's going to be new housing going in there, and that's right next to the school. So especially going 8th to 9th, there's a sidewalk. The sidewalk will convey kids to the high school. But the long term is really about the drainage issue, and putting that stuff there. Once we get the 8th to 9th piece done, that's probably the most problematic part of it. But then from basically 7th to 8th, that would cover everything from the north to the drainage pipe. And then the last part would be just to add basically, I mean, continue those improvements, but it'd be to add the sidewalk from 6th to 7th, so that it was all along the western side of the high school. So one of the pieces, real quick, that we submit these projects in priority. So we're of course going to prioritize this project and the Cedar project, and then the other two will be, third and fourth.
Yeah. What do you you say prioritize this project? You talk about just the one section?
Just this section that we're,
And
yes,
then the cedar, those are
correct.
priorities.
Yeah, so Cedar is probably number one priority. This is number two. And then,
That section first would be.
Yeah.
If we're gonna get into that one, now we want that.
right,
Okay.
Right.
Now I will.
Move to approve resolution 25. We're gonna do these individually.
yeah, I don't think we need an explanation every time other than when we get to Cedar, but we do need different motions.
So we do have a motion, we need a second,
Yes,
roll call please.
John Munger,
Yes.
Mike Pacheco,
Yes.
Murray Anderson,
yes.
Vanessa Ramirez is absent, and Mike Goodsell.
Yes. So, would you like to just say, just enough?
I could go over the funding amounts for the phases.
Yeah, that's it.
Just to be
So for 25-15, what are we talking about money wise there? Matthew, so what's it?
Yeah, for phase 2, it's for fiscal year and design, 2026 to 2027, it's gonna be 59,824. For construction, fiscal year 27-28, 398,825. And everything's gonna add up to a local match of 52,607. A total requested funds of $406,042. And then it's all gonna total up to 458,640. Yeah, all three phases are from the same amount.
Hey, my question on that one, Francisco, 7th Street doesn't cross now.
Yeah, so for the map, if you look at the APN map, it kind of shows it, but it's not really, like you mentioned. It's just a lot easier to say 7th Street than the southern half block between 8th Street and 6th Street north of.
It's where 7th Street would be. That's,
If it's
Yeah,
kept-
because it's instead of 8th to 6th Street grant, it had to be broken down 8th to 7th.
there's no way we get funded.
Yeah, there's around, right now, it's approximately around 1,800,000 for the entire county. And a lot of the county are requesting upwards to 1 million to 2 million around there. So it was broken up to make it more competitive on our end. Because usually at the end, there's always funding left over, or when a lot of cities are having to downsize the project significantly. At least this will give us an edge saying we don't have to downsize and we can full amount. And like Nick said, we prioritize the segments such as the phase 1, which is significantly facing flooding issues.
So we're going to take a motion for this one, if you want to wait.
Motion to approve resolution 25-18.
I'll second it this time. Roll call.
John Munger,
Yes.
Mike Pacheco,
Yes.
Murray Anderson,
Yes.
Vanessa Ramirez is absent, and Mike Goodsell.
Yes. Item C, we can give us the numbers on resolution 25-16, so we can consider it approval.
Yeah, so for design, fiscal year 26-27, it's 64,136. For construction, fiscal year 27-28, 427,575. The total local match is going to be 556,389. The total requested funds is 435,312, and it's all equals a grand total of 491,711 for phase 3 between 7 and 6.
Thank you, council. Can we get a motion on this one? Carry all the way.
Feel free for me.
25 dash 16.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
John Munger,
Yes.
Mike Pacheco,
Yes.
Murray Anderson,
Yes.
Vanessa Ramirez is absent, and Mike Goodsell.
Yes. And item D is discussion related action to adopt resolution 2517, approving an application submission to obtain funding for those fiscal years 26, 27, 27, 28 under the Surface Transportation Block Grant SDBG program. And this is for Cedar Avenue Road Rehabilitation Project between 4th and 5th Street.
Yeah, so this is, so this is for the Surface Transportation Block Grant for fiscal year 26-27 and 27-28. So the project is an approximately 600-foot long and 52-foot wide segment of Cedar Avenue between 5th Street and 4th Street. So the project will consist of rehabilitating the road segment, and the total design amount for 26-27 is $68,000. The total construction amount for 27-28 is $452,744. This will equal a total local match of $59,730, a total requested funding amount of $461,014, and it's all going to be for a grand total of $520,744.
This was the number one priority. How the motion, please.
So this isn't street and sidewalk, right? This is for the actual street.
Street. We just redid the sidewalk a couple of years ago.
Right. Did this street not get the whole street refurbishing thing when we went?
It did, but as I always say, what we did last time, we had a truck full of Band-Aids and we just did
Right.
Band-Aids. This is putting a cast on this one. So,
This was so.
and it is, if you wait, you can't see it now because we just put paint on it, which is what slurry seal effectively is. But if you wait a year, that thing, you can see the alligator cracks and they're all bumpy and lumpy, and Cedar needs work. It does need to work. So.
I'll recommend them for approval.
Second. Roll call?
John Munger,
Yes.
Mike Pacheco,
Yes.
Murray Anderson,
Yes.
Vanessa Ramirez is absent, and Mike Goodsell.
Yes. Any discussion related actions
Dick
about
Francisco.
resolution 2519? Identifying.
Just a quick question.
Yes.
So how long before these projects actually start?
So if you look at the tables, well, first of all, this is our projection is to put them into fiscal years, subsequent fiscal years, and they're on those tables that'll tell you when. But tomorrow, Chandler and I and Chavez will be scoring projects from other cities, and then next week, is it next week? Yeah,
Next week.
Chandler will be in a meeting where they recommend those based on the scoring and ranking, recommend those that will be funded. That will then pass to my group with the city managers, which will then pass to Mike's group with the ICTC to get fully recommended. So this is just asking for money. And oh, by the way, during the horse trading stuff that Chandler's group will do, they sometimes rejigger where they put those things. So they'll say, we'll ask for the money for this fiscal year, and they'll say, we don't have enough in this fiscal year for everybody, so we're going to put it in the next fiscal year.
Okay.
So, TBD is the short answer to your question.
And I think we find out the results of the scoring, the ICC meeting, the 26th of this month, I believe.
Okay, now we have item E, the discussion related action to adopt resolution 2519, identifying the West 9th Street improvements project for the use of the SB1 gas tax revenue funds. We get that every month for the 2025-2026 fiscal year.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we do receive I'm gonna call it 3 pots of money annually for transportation road projects. One is gas tax, which comes, both federal and state gas tax comes through, and gives us a pot of money. We have a county measure for LTA, the Local Transportation Authority, which is comes through sales tax and gives us all an apportionment of money. And the third one was a measure passed about 7, 8, 9 years ago through SB1, the state of California, and everybody will probably remember at the time when our gas prices went up by like 18 cents, and that was to fund SB1. Now, the gas tax money and the LTA money are pretty fluid. You can kind of do what you want to do with them within the reasons. They do get audited and make sure you use them right. SB1, of course, now that whenever the state of California gives you money, they give it with all kinds of strings. So SB1, since it was set up in the last decade, has strings, and that is, you must tell us what you're going to do with it. You must tell us how you used it, and then you must come back and be audited for how you used it. So this is us telling them where we're going to use it. We have that project coming up we undergrounded the canal on 9th with IAD. We're going to now very soon in short order be putting curb gutter and sidewalk and widening the pavement there. This proposes, and as you all know, that we have a local match for all of our projects, as you saw in these things. So this proposes to use SB1 funding to pay for our local match, and if there are any overages on the project. Because this is the most stringent funding for reporting, I always like to designate it whatever project we have coming up for that year for SB1 first. We always talk about the overage coming from LTA, but LTA is really fungible, so if this doesn't cover it, we can use the LTA, but this is always the idea is put the SB1 funding towards it first.
Let's go to the council. We get a motion on this survey. I will second it. Roll call, please.
John Munger,
Yes.
Mike Pacheco,
Yes.
Murray Anderson,
Yes.
Vanessa Ramirez is absent, and Mike Goodsell.
Yes. Item F, discussion related action to adopt resolution 2518, requesting the appropriation of additional fiscal year 2023-24 funds allocated from the state of California to California Citizen Option Services for Public Safety, the COPS program, provides for frontline police and garrison management.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you all know, we get an annual allocation of COPS funds for $100,000. We have to go through a process to claim that, which we have done for every year. Then sometime after the fiscal year is over, they report to you an overage amount that you're also eligible for. So actually, we've been eligible for this money for some period of time. Was not aware that it was not claimed, but Chandler and I were doing some work and talking to the county, and it is available for us. So it's another close to $100,000. I can't remember what the exact amount was off the top of my head. 106. Okay, so it's over $100,000. So that is an additional amount that we gleaned from last year. Got Chandler on the case, so she's going to be checking on this year's funding, additional funding starting in July and August. I don't think it's available until July, August, September, the year after. But we will find that out and we'll keep on top of it. We haven't missed any funding. And oh, by the way, usually I interact with them a couple of times a year, and they kind of give me what is out there for us to claim at all times. So. So it's free money.
Free money. Do we want the free money? Does anyone want to make a
Motion to adopt resolution 25. I'll make a second.
second? Roll call, please.
John Munger,
Yes.
Mike Pacheco,
Yes.
Murray Anderson,
Yes.
Vanessa Ramirez is absent, and Mike Goodsell.
Yes. Item 4.
Time for me to say
Information
no,
only.
for sure.
Discussion only regarding the 2025
We don't have anything new to report today. We got really close on getting the transportation fund stuff done, but didn't quite get there. So, as I mentioned to y'all earlier tonight, we're gonna get all that done, wrapped up with the May projection numbers, and get that out to you prior to next meeting so that you have a chance to go over it. Hopefully, we're able to pass the budget by next meeting.
And please look at the draft that we gave you, and if you have any questions before that, email us so that we can start addressing those as soon as possible. If you have any concerns or suggestions.
Any other comments on that? All right, then we'll move on to staff reports. City manager's report as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't think I have anything too exciting to add except for we did get a copy of the draft draft audit on Friday. So our long nightmare is close to over. Chandler and I will be reviewing that, and there's some questions that have to be answered, some that have to be addressed by the city manager before it's submitted. But we're there. So.
Anybody have any questions for the report? We also have Chief's report we just discussed, and we have Frank's report, and John's report. Is there any others?
Those two residents that talked to me about an orange Camaro that likes to speed down 9th Street. Not you, George. I don't know if you guys are keeping an eye on that. He's parked right there by the junior high. Or no, it's a red Corvette. I'm sorry, not the orange. Red Corvette.
Orange Camaro. Is it little?
I don't know if you guys are talking about that. Very loud.
Any items for future meetings?
We got our SB1 thing, just passing the budget, the GAN limit, all that good stuff that all goes. And I guess now we'll have the site logic thing, hopefully again.
All right, so we will be adjourned.
He put a speed trap on Zenith Road for me. I get it there.
From the branch?
Have you heard? Have you
Think
seen
so.
that?
No.
Yeah, we've never been.
My brother's there. Coming in from- Oh, yeah. Saturday Club. Yeah. It's great. I don't forget you.